What is going on, everybody? We're here, back with a brand new episode of Higurashi When They Cry. It has been a little bit since the last episode, but I did drop a 4-hour video. So, you can forgive me for having a couple days off for you guys to digest all 4 hours of that. But anyway, last time we had finished chapter 6, which was an epic ending with Rena pretty much holding basically keeping the school hostage for her crazy alien theory. And eventually we won her over back to our side via fighting on top of the rooftop with a hatchet and a damn baseball bat. And we had a tip at the very end of chapter 6, which showed us 20 years later of Akasaka coming back to the village. Now, you guys clear this up for me, but at first I thought it was continuing on from the end of chapter 4, but no, it continues on from chapter 6. The reason why I was so confused by that was they said Rena held up the school, but they never said what happened to Rena. Like, I was assuming maybe it was the failed timeline that Rika had mentioned earlier in chapter 6 in that, same episode. But no, it turns out it's the same timeline as in, Ketchi won over Rena and Rika still died at the end of that night. And even though we had won at the end of chapter 6, we still lost. The demon script, whoever's orchestrating all of this, still won in the end. The Himizawa gas disaster still happened, which is very interesting. And by this point, my theory about everything is that it's some type of time loop that's been going on for a long time, but it's not your traditional time loop. Not everything repeats itself. There are different outcomes to each of these chapters, different things that happen that lead to very drastic endings. The only consistency in every single one of these chapters is Tomoki dying on Wanakagashi. That's really the only thing that's consistent throughout every chapter. Now, you may say, what about Takano? Well, in chapter 1, we never learn of Takano's fate. She just goes missing. We never find her body. But in sequential chapters, we do find her body. So that's very interesting. You guys also told me a fun fact about the whole gasoline classroom thing is that those facts came from Ryuku's '07's father, which is very funny. And also, you guys told me that it seemed like Higurashi was Ryuku '07's family really helped him out a lot with it as well, which is very, very nice to, very wholesome, very wholesome to help with the family business of selling this horror game that contains murder, time travel, and conspiracies, and it's just all sorts of fun. I think that's very funny. But yes, I am very excited to get into chapter 7 because this could go anywhere. This really could go anywhere. I have no idea. By this, before, I've been trying to see what's ahead of me on this roller coaster of a journey. But by this point, I have no idea what's going to come up ahead. So I'm just going to just experience it. So enough talking. Let's actually get into it. Whoa. Minagoshi, The Final Truth, Massacre Chapter. This story introduces the unit inside and out, using all the actors. This is no longer a story. It's a public autopsy for all to join. As they say, after loving someone, cut open their belly and eat their organs. It's the same with stories. The difficulty is quite mild, well suited for those with pride. The final truth? Oh shit. Alright. That's an interesting opening. What are you doing? I don't see you playing by yourself that often. All you could do before was nod to my questions. Since when do you have your own will? I'm glad. I finally have a sister or a brother. Whichever you are. I used to be in existence of nothingness, just like you. But one day I began to have my own identity, my own thoughts, and eventually my own body. So it's not a surprise to see you in possession of your own will. Welcome to this vast yet tiny world, my sister. You might be my brother, but let me call you my sister until I know for sure. This is an endless, eternal, and infinite world. But that doesn't mean it's boundlessly vast. I suppose you could describe it like a ring with a small diameter. While the ring is an eternal, endlessly looping world, that doesn't mean it contains infinite space. Yes, in short, this world is eternally sealed. The future is supposed to be an infinite weave of countless choices, yet, for whatever reason, our world always ends in death. If I were to compare it to something, perhaps a maze of fate would be appropriate. Looping through the same moments forever steadily grows harder and more dejecting, eventually producing something like me. Then as that draws further on, even one like you is born, and eventually this world may be filled with your sisters too. After that, we'll build a colony inside of it, and once we lose our interest in this maze, Rika Furude will disappear from this world. What the hell is going on? It looks like you are still clinging to this narrow world, Rika. Though I lost interest long ago. Which is why I'm truly glad you were born for me to talk to. So what are you doing? Are you collecting fragments of memory? Alright, I think my OBS crashed. Not now. Alright. My OBS crashed. Alright, but I think we're good. I hope to God we're good. I swear to God, if OBS crashes again, especially during this, there's only 5 or 6 of them right now. It must still be fun for you, though. There used to be more fragments long ago, but one by one they disappeared into the darkness. Referring to the chapters as fragments of memory? Now these are the only ones that remain clear. Oh, that's not how you're supposed to use it. See? Try and hold it up to the light. All of that is the life of Rika Furude and its end. What the hell is happening? That one is... No, I remember that one. That's the world where Kechi was cursed. Those fragments are like books to me, so I titled that one the Onakakushi chapter. Okay, what the fuck is happening, dude? Holy what the fuck? Oh, this is meta shit, man. Do you remember what happened in that one? Good. That makes things easier. In Onakakushi, Ketchimarabara was consumed by the darkness. He couldn't accept the kind words his friends offered him, and eventually beat them to death, not knowing of their kindness. We were all killed after that anyway. That had nothing to do with his story, though. That fragment is the Higurashi chapter. Chapter 2. Shion Sonozaki was cursed in that one. She killed many people out of revenge for her boyfriend's disappearance, as he went missing in 1982. Rika worked so hard, but she was captured at the end, and she was tortured to death. That's why she chose to commit suicide in the Miyakeshia chapter, because things were going to turn out the same way. That fragment over there is called the Teragoshi chapter. The Miyakeshia chapter, that was chapter 5, so... God damn it, I haven't been reading the titles. Fuck. God damn it. Okay. Alright. So, chapter 2 was, Wanagagashi, yep. Chapter 5 was Miyakeshi, right? So, yeah, she did commit suicide by throwing herself at Shion. Okay. Because she knew her fate. She was going to be tortured by Shion if she didn't. Wow. That actually made swats of fucking sense. That fragment over there is called the Teragoshi chapter. Satoko's uncle came back and locked her up inside her house. That was the worst world of all. There was nothing Rika was able to do in that world. Whenever Satoko's uncle comes back, Rika usually just gives up on that world. Fortunately, Satoko's uncle doesn't come back that frequently. That one is called the Tsushimoboshi chapter. Rika was there until just a moment ago. Isn't that the chapter we're playing now? Nope, that was chapter 6, when Erigu was possessed in that world. It was pretty exciting to see her take over the whole school. It surprised me to learn that Kechi Marubawa had a memory of the other worlds, just like we do. It was pretty amazing, but then again, most of us have some kind of memory like that. We all have an imaginary world within us, some idea of what would have happened if you did things a different way. It's like the strange feeling you get when you do something for the first time, but it feels like you've done it before. Everyone has a memory of an imaginary world in their mind, but the memory is not always that clear. It's not surprising, really. You were special enough to be able to see those fragments of memory. It's probably very difficult for you to understand how special you really are. You were born into a world where it's a natural thing for you to see these fragments. I was originally born in the normal world. I didn't know until recently that I could collect these fragments of memory. You grabbed those fragments just because you could, but I didn't know how to do that for a long time. I'm sorry. I'm sure you're not interested in hearing my story. Huh? What's wrong? What are you curious about? Oh, you're curious as to why so many different incidents occur in the same world. It's very interesting, isn't it? Why do you think that's the case? Let's think about it together. Thinking is the first step towards playing the game. The main character among Rika's group of friends is Kechi Marubawa. Also, this is a horrible time to bring this up, but it recently just got announced there is something called Higurashi Origins that was just announced like a couple of days ago. It's honestly crazy how 20 years later pretty much 20 years later, this game is still getting new content. Or this franchise will. No, Willie Higurashi. It's still getting more fucking content. That's insane to me. Anyway, that's besides the point. Let's keep going with whatever the hell this is. The main character among Rika's group of friends is Kechi Marubawa. You know, Kushi, he was possessed by suspicion and killed Wanarigu and Mion Sonozaki. Yep. If that was an inevitable event, he would be killing them in every world. In other words, what Kechi Marubawa didn't know Kushi was not inevitable. Indeed, the only thing that's inevitable is Kechi Marubara's wool. If Kechi Marubara was someone with a naturally suspicious heart, he would take the same actions in every world. But that didn't happen. It's true that Kechi Marubara is both passionate and easily convinced of anything, but it's rare for him to exhibit the kind of rage he displayed in Onakakushi. In other words, even though something might seem inevitable in one world, that may not be the case if you compare it to a different one. If something really is inevitable, it will happen for sure in every life. That's what true inevitability is like. It's very important that you know that. When you compare the different worlds, what's common among all of them is the truth. Understand? Like I said, what seems inevitable in one life could just be a random event in another. The club activities that Meion Sonozaki suggests are a good example. If Meion Sonozaki had a strong inclination towards playing certain games, he would be playing them in every world. But in reality, you participate in different activities in most of them. That means that the games they play in the club are randomly decided by Meion Sonozaki. We know that now because we've been through many different lives. Those who only live in one world can't see if the event in question is inevitable or random. Those who only live once can't predict what's going on in Meion Sonozaki's mind. But we can. Although the activities are random, Meion Sonozaki calls us together for the club meeting almost every day in every life. I can see that Meion Sonozaki holds a strong will towards having the club meeting. Meion Sonozaki always wants to play with the other club members, but she doesn't know what to play. See? We can read Meion Sonozaki's mind just by simply examining these fragments. With this alone, we can see part of who Meion Sonozaki really is. Let me talk a bit more about Kechi Marubara. For those who only live once, the world of the Onakakushi chapter is nothing but a story where Kechi suffered mysterious hallucinations and beat his friends to death. For them, there's nothing beyond that fact. We, however, can compare different fragments and find out something they could never see. As a result, we know that the murder of his friends was not inevitable. I told you that just earlier. In fact, while there are about 5 or 6 pieces in front of you, he only kills his friends in one of them. That means we can roughly conclude that the possibility Kechi Marubara triggers a tragedy is less than 20% and is almost a fluke. This means that amongst the countless worlds, Kechi Marubara causing a tragedy is an unimportant factor. Now, can you find the common thread to be drawn from here? My, you found it already. No wonder you were born in this world. You're quick to learn the knack for playing with building blocks. I didn't figure that out for a while. I was born in the normal world, so I could only see things from a single world's perspective. Yeah, it isn't the catchy thing that causes a tragedy. The thing that causes the damn tragedy over and over, the one consistent thing, the one inevitable thing that always happens is Tomoki's death. That's the one thing. That's the one consistent thing. I was too obsessed with the fact that Kechi Marubara caused a tragedy, so I had trouble finding it. Right, that's exactly right. You see it? The Onakakushi, Wanakagashi, Miyakishi, and Susubori chapters all have something in common. Someone in the group becomes violent because of dark and paranoid thoughts. Oh, shit. Chapter 1, Kechi. Chapter 2, Shion. Chapter 3... Chapter 3, what the hell was Chapter 3? Kechi. Yeah, Kechi again. Because he kills Satoko's uncle. Or kills Teppei. Chapter 4... What was Chapter 4? Becomes dark and paranoid thoughts, becomes violent. Let me actually think. Let me try to find the answer before it tells me. Who was it that became violent because of Chapter 4? Or maybe they're inciting that Chapter 3's person that becomes violent. Would it be... It's either Kechi or Satoko. That's my two ideas. But for Chapter 4, what would Chapter 4 be? Who would the violent person in Chapter 4 be? Akasaka? No. Well, he didn't become violent. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. In each world, either Kechi Marbawa, Shion Sonozaki, yep. Uenawagu become violent as their delusions grew stronger. Oh wait, they were referring to Chapter 6. Yeah, Chapter 6, yeah. I'm sorry, guys. I haven't actually been reading the damn titles of the chapters. I just referring to them as chapters 1 through, 7. Not their Japanese titles, because I know for a fact I can't fucking pronounce them, or... Became violent as their delusions grew stronger. Kechi Marbawa, Shion Sonozaki, and Uenawagu are all my close friends, but... they were all born in ways different way. The only common factor is that they all live in Hinazawa. I just said it's not too long ago, though. When we peer through these fragments of multiple worlds, the constant phenomenon become more facts, and the chance phenomenon hold little meaning. In other words, the unrelated individual culprits are not all that important. To go further, the violence of their crimes also bears no meaning. Kechi Marbawa beat his friends to death. Shion Sonozaki killed the central people of the three families. And Uenawagu took over the school. They were all different. There's nothing in common there. Wait. I know the common thing between all three of them. The one constant thing. It isn't their crimes. It isn't their way of murdering people. You know what's the one thing in common with all three of them? All three of them. Alright? First, Kechi. He interacted with Tomoki and Takano, right? That's how we learned of the murders. Shion also interacted with Takano. And what did Shion get from Takano? The damn notebooks. Rena got the damn notebooks from Takano. Which caused them to have paranoia and dark thoughts. Oh my god, that is so obvious. That is so fucking obvious. How the fuck did I not see that before? Dude, how the fuck did I not... Okay, oh shit. Alright, let's keep going. In fact, a very, very important truth is that while the culprit and crimes are decided at random, their process of growing paranoid until they resort to violence is always consistent. The suspect changes every time, but the process does not. After comparing the different worlds, this is the truth I found. This is one truth that is common to all the worlds of Himizawa. The rule is that a random person becomes violent under the influence of paranoid thoughts. This is Rule X. Kechi Marabara, Shion Sonzaki, and Renarigu, pieces with no particular connection, have the potential to succumb to that rule with random probability. I don't know what the probability is that those pieces will be ensnared by that rule. Perhaps there is some rule to that too. Is it because these three are all close in age? Or is it because they all live in Himizawa? Well, we're not detectives or police officers. This is not something that a small girl like us, Rika Furude, can easily figure out. At least we now know that there's a mysterious rule in the world of Himizawa. People who only live in one world have no way of knowing that. I'm proud of myself for figuring that out. I guess for you it's not particularly surprising though. Huh? What did you say? That's right. If something is common among all worlds, that means it's fated to happen. Some events quickly come to mind, don't they? You're right. Jiro Tomigake and Mio Takano are always killed in those worlds. On top of that, they are murdered in exactly the same way in every world. In other words, unlike our previous rule of its variability, their murders are fully planned out by someone with a strong will. So that does not fit with the mysterious vague Rule X that leads a random individual to violence. After all, they are always murdered, regardless of who follows to Rule X. Therefore, there's another rule to these worlds. A rule that says Jiro Tamake and Mio Takano will get killed on the night of Wanakagashi. Let's call it Rule Y. Don't you see how funny this is? Jiro Tamake and Mio Takano killed in every world, right? Every time the character who gets cursed always thinks that their deaths have something to do with the danger that's awaiting them. The fact that someone turns violent, Rule X, and Jiro Tamake and Mio Takano's deaths, Rule Y, are supposed to be two independent rules, but they all tend to link them together. Of course, one could say that's how they became ensnared in the spell of paranoia leading them to violence to begin with. But do you think, in their paranoia, that they notice someone is trying to lead them to link those rules together? Yes. Whoever the priest reading them is, they are the one making the stage called Himizawa very complicated. You should have noticed at least two suspicious people. Is it going to say Takano and Oshi? Do you know who I'm talking about? That's right. Ah! Fucking knew it! I'm referring to Kurado Oshi and Mio Takano. When you compare our previous fragments, the role of the piece known as Kurado Oshi becomes clear. He's a detective who is retiring this year, and he's in a hurry to solve the mystery of the series of deaths in Himizawa. After he retires, he'll have to move away from the village. That's why he's desperate to solve this case before he has to leave Himizawa. Why is he so obsessed with the serial murders in Himizawa? Because his friend was killed by it. That's right. It's because of the first murder involving the manager of the construction site. The victim was Oshi's close friend. You will see that if you look at the Hitamibushi chapter. Oshi was there when the dam conflict was at its peak. He saw how the Sonozaki family took control of the Onikafuchi Guardians, and he believed that the Sonozaki family was pulling the strings behind the whole incident. That's why he's always suspected that the Sonozaki family was behind the series of mysterious deaths, regardless of the evidence or lack thereof. His personal biased belief, combined with his credibility as a police detective, affected the pitiable victims of persecution complexes in each world. As a result, the pitiful victims of Rule X come to accept the Sonozaki family as the identity of the unknown force their paranoia seeks. Shion Sonozaki's case was the most conspiracious one in that matter. So yes, if this piece Oshi didn't intervene, then perhaps the victims of Rule X wouldn't have resulted to such violence. So the role his piece plays is to indirectly cause a tragedy. I don't know who named him this, but Oshiro-sama's servant is the perfect nickname for Oshi. Dude, do you remember all the way back in chapter 1 how they said that Oshi always comes to the victims before they died in the mysterious series of deaths? This may be a long stretch. I could just be throwing shit out there and giving way too much credit. But could that have been foreshadowing Oshi always coming to the victims, Shion, Kechi, and Rena before they died? That's fucking... I'm probably just giving way too much credit to Ryuku 7, but fuck. It's still good. The other suspicious person is Mio Takano. One would assume the only role of her piece is to amuse herself with research into Onikafuchi's dreadful history, and to take pleasure in scaring others with those tales. However, just like Oshi, she also gives them the idea that the Sonozaki family is behind all the mysterious incidents that happen in the village. She interfered the most with Renorigu. For me, Takano, Renorigu was the perfect play, grasping at straws to try and identify the force she suspected. Ironically, however, Mio Takano always ends up getting killed at the end. If she had survived and seen Rena take over the school, she would have left long and loud. Now, have you realized that these two pieces and the rules of Fufu have their own rule too? They talk about the Sonozaki family, and the listeners always believe them. This is Rule Z, and what a humorous rule it is. You should already have an answer to this mystery in your fragments on hand. The fact is that the Sonozaki family always acts as if they are responsible, no matter if they are or not. They always pretend to be the villains in order to make sure that people continue to fear them. As a result, the villagers have believed that the Sonozaki family has been pulling the strings ever since the Dan conflict ended. Kurado, Oshi, and Mio Takano were simply fooled by that rule. Actually, the whole village is fooled by it. Still, the more I think about it, the stranger the series of mysterious deaths in Himizawa seems to me. Do you know why? Nearly all of the fragments of memories we have here from 1983. So I have no idea about the incidents from 1980 to 82. But it's likely that interpreting those murders as serial is simply a result of falling victim to Rule Z, believing that the Sonozaki family is pulling the strings behind everything. In short, they may be trying to conflate those multiple crimes, which each happen for different reasons, into one big case. Well, I have no way of discerning the truth from the fragments here. Still, perhaps something lies in one of them. Each case was supposed to have been solved individually, after all. We don't know if that theory is sound or irrational, but it might surprisingly be an element we can't ignore. That reminds me, Shion said something intriguing in the Mikishi chapter. That curse system she came up with. Do you remember that? Her theory was that the villagers believed that they are allowed to kill an enemy of the village in the night of Higurashi in the name of Oshiro-sama's curse, and that this foundation of murders allowed on that night alone is the true identity of the curse. Since most of the fragments here are from 1983, there's nothing to back the validity of Shion's theory, but there are still interesting things about it. In other words, her theory is that the suspect is not the one who's committing the crime. It's the environment that's causing the murder. People in a single world tend to analyze a criminal's life to determine the process that led them to crime, but her idea is different. The real crime is committed not by the criminals, but by the environment. In other words, it may only be happenstance that Robber A committed the crime, and the environment of poverty may have created Robber B instead, or perhaps even Robber C. It may not even be a criminal in another world. Therefore, the real criminal is not A, but the environment that creates A, B, or C. And while people in a single world may be able to reach such an idea, the widespread desire to place blame commonly causes A to be lynched by society, while the environment that gave rise to A goes to ignore. Did I confuse you? I'm sorry. Perhaps that example was actually harder to understand for you. It's easy for me to see it like that because I'm from the normal world. Let me make it simple for you. The culprit behind the tragedy in many worlds isn't individuals like Ketchumarbor or Shion Sonozaki, but the environment. Yes, yeah. So Rule X is the true culprit at fault. You're earning good marks if you can grasp that, even if we don't know the identity of Rule X. And if you can grasp the three rules governing this stage called Himizawa, Rules X, Y, and Z, then you're earning very good marks. So long as you understand those rules, then even if this is your first experience world, you should easily find the truth without distraction. See? Isn't it fun? Merely three simple rules are interacting on this stage, creating a kaleidoscope of different worlds. This is probably a very unusual case. In other locations, you shouldn't be able to see such extreme variation even after looping through several worlds. It keeps me entertained just staying here and watching these worlds revolve. Anyway, there's one more fact we can understand from these fragments of worlds. This is the biggest problem we Rika Furudes are facing. The fact that Rika Furude always dies each time. It's as if June 1983 is a dead end for her. Worse, there's no randomness to it. It's guaranteed to happen. In other words, it's the same pattern as the deaths of Jiro Tomake and Mio Takano. It's following the exact same rule, Rule Y. Tomake, Jiro, and Takano Mio are always murdered on the night of Wanakagashi. Furude Rika's date of death is not always the same, but she's always dead by the middle of June. Jiro Tamake and Mio Takano are probably attacked on their way home, so that's why it always happens on the same night. But for Rika Furude, it's different. She takes different actions in her world, and her lifestyle is very unpredictable. For that reason, the day of her death is not always the same, and the cause of it's different. However, she always dies in June, because a similar powerful conviction vows to kill her too. So can we assume that the same Wool, Y, killing them, is also the Wool behind her death? Is the same person killing all three of them? I don't know if it's the same person, but it's highly likely the same Wool is at work. Is it the same person, or the same organization? Is it the same views, the same goals? Rika's most important goal is to escape her deadly fate. But it doesn't mean that she just wants to leave the village and survive. She wants to live happily in the village. All of her friends must also be happy too. That's Rika's happy future. The ideal future she hopes for. It's tragic that we can't realize such a simple desire no matter how many times we repeat this. Though it's a tragedy we've only been able to perceive because we're beings capable of comparing the fragments from different worlds. By the way, I have some interesting information. Well, Rika is almost always killed by Wool Y. Have you noticed that she's killed by Wool X in some worlds? Right. It happened in the Wanakagashi and the Miyakishi chapters. Shion, yeah. Rika Furude committed suicide, but you can say she was more or less killed by Wool X via Shion Zonozaki in those worlds. In other words, this is a blunder for Wool Y. Wool Y is trying to kill Rika with a strong desire to achieve some aim. But she was killed before that, as a result of the unrelated Wool X. That might have caused them to show some disturbance. If Wool Y's objective is simply to bury Rika, then that's not a problem. But if they have some objective beyond that, then that might show up as some other phenomenon. Perhaps the Wanakagashi and Miyakishi chapters have something in common. Something that doesn't happen in the other worlds. Unfortunately, we're Rika Furude, so we don't know what happens after Rika is dead. Or, by any chance, do you know what happened? Since I'm Rika Furude, I only know of events during Rika's life. You, on the other hand, are a special existence who was born in the superior world. Is there anything that didn't happen in the Wanakagashi and Miyakishi chapters that happened in all the other worlds after Rika's death? The gas disaster! We don't know Rika's fate after the end of Chapter 1. Chapter 2, yeah, the Miyakishi, the Wanakagashi. Chapter 3, Rika dies, the gas attack happens. Chapter 4, that took place in the past. Chapter 5, same thing, period. And then Chapter 6, Rika dies. And the gas happens again. So, why? So whoever's behind Rika's death in chapters 3 and 6. No, 4. Yeah, 4. Chapters 3, 4, and 6 causes the gas disaster. But for some reason, when Rika's killed by Shion, the gas disaster doesn't happen. Why is that? If it's something supernatural, for example, if she was truly the reincarnation of Oshiro-sama, which, I don't know, Rika's special in some way. I don't know if it's Oshiro-sama. Hell, maybe she is a reincarnation of God. Anyway, it isn't being caused by these Rika Furudes that are seemingly to be an extra-dimensional existence. Oshiro-sama, in other words. They're not the ones causing the gas attacks, because they don't know what happens after Rika's death. So why do they do it in pretty much every other chapter, Rika dies in except for chapters 2 and 5. Why is that? Why is that? If you know anything, then that must be another truth behind why. The memories I have here are all mainly about the chaos brought about by Rika's friends, that is, Wool X. But its foundation, Wool Z, in the obvious hostility common amongst all worlds, Wool Y, are what I believe to be the true rules governing this stage. If so, then Rika's path is a thorny one. She needs to fight Wool Y in order to survive. Unless she defeats it, she has no future past June 1983. And to win her own happiness, she must also beat Wool X to win her friend's safety. So long as that's undefeated, one of Rika's precious friends may be wed to tragedy. If that happens, then even should Rika survive, she wouldn't have the happy future she hopes for. She also may have to defeat Wool Z, just as Sonozaki Shion faced it in Mikishi. So long as Wool Z remains, then even if she escapes 1983, it's possible another tragedy may lie waiting in 1984. It's extremely likely that Wool Z is the breeding ground for Wool X. Himizawa's fundamental belief that the Sonozaki family is behind everything, and the custom that anything can be misconstructed as the curse, may indirectly be the root of all evil here. People are not surprised to see somebody die in the night of Onigagashi. That type of thinking is keeping the curse alive in Himizawa, where it causes even more tragedy. It's Wool Z and reinforcing itself. And Wools X, Y, and Z. There are 3 wolves that hunt Rika down in the eternal June of 1983. They are all tough obstacles. We didn't even figure out these 3 common wolves until recently. Were you aware of them? I mean, kinda? If you were, I'll give you straight A's. I've tried so hard in the past to break these rules, but I was never successful. However, a miracle happened in the Shishimoboshi chapter. Ketchimarabara was able to recognize a small fragment from another world by chance, and he beat Wool X. In the end, Rika was still killed that night by Wool Y, though. But still, one Wool was defeated. That was a huge leap forward. Rika knew there were 3 common wolves among the worlds, but she could never break any of them. Eventually she gave up and lost interest in the worlds. That's how I was born. However, she's different now. She learned something valuable from Ketchimarabara, that the wolves can be broken with a strong enough will to fight. If she can break all 3 wolves, Rika Furude will be freed from her eternal prison. She doesn't have much time left, though. Rika has traveled through many worlds. Her physical lifespan is not the problem, but her mental lifespan is getting shorter. Mentally, she's extremely old, and her soul is starting to turn into something different. In the end, she'll probably lose the ability to experience singular worlds. She's already showing these signs, and eventually her memories from the parallel worlds will mix together, ultimately causing her derangement and the loss of Rika Furude's soul. Then she will disappear. That means that you and I are going to be left in this dark world. The fragments of our memories will gradually disappear, and we will be left alone in the eternal darkness. Eventually we will die. Rika Furude is aware of that. She knows that her mental lifespan is getting shorter and shorter. Hanyu is also losing her powers. Who the fuck is Hanyu? She can't rewind through years of time like she used to. Her powers decrease so much that she can briefly rewind 1 month of time. Actually, she can only rewind a few weeks. In the next world, she should only have about 2 weeks of time. Week of Furude is going to try and break all 3 rules in just those 2 weeks. I wanted to know what's outside the well, so I tried to crawl my way up from there. I wanted to know what's outside the well, so I continued to climb even when I fell and injured myself. I finally realized the higher I climb, the more pain I feel when I fall. When my curiosity towards the world and my physical pain became... Okay. Can never read those in time. Holy shit, that was nearly an hour long intro. Yeah, I can see why they called this autopsy, but who the fuck is Hanyu? Excuse me? You can't just throw out a name like that. I felt no gravity in the darkness, and lost all my senses as a result. I banged my head on the floor with a dull thud. Seeing stars behind my eyelids, I curled into a ball while holding my head in pain. I had no idea why I was in this situation. As soon as I heard their voices from the top of the cliff, I realized I must have fallen. I remember. I was playing behind the shrine with the rest of the club members. I got too excited and started doing something very dangerous. Then the tree branch broke. That's how I fell off the cliff. My body started to ache all over. I remembered how I fell, but I still felt strange for some reason. I couldn't remember what I was doing. No, it was more that I couldn't remember who Rika Furude was before I fell off the cliff. That's a new voice. I heard Hanyu's panicked voice. Who the fuck is Hanyu? You! You're fucking Hanyu! God damn it, I've seen this face so many goddamn times, but I've never had a name. I looked behind me and saw Hanyu standing there with a scared look on her face.
Hanyu. これは一体何事なの？はうはう。リカはみんなと遊んでて崖から転げ落ちたのです。大丈夫なのですか？羽生、そんなことはどうでもいいわ。今日はいつ？昭和何年の何月何日？
I always ask this question first when something like this happens. She finally realized what I was asking, the same old question.
昭和58年6月なのです。綿流しのお祭りが来週なのですから、なんてこと。それしか猶予がないってわけ。僕たちの力もこれが精一杯なのです。
Hanyu muttered regretfully. It was the middle of June, 1983. If this really was the best she could do, I had no choice. I couldn't complain. I gradually started to remember more things.
私がまた昭和58年の6月にいるということは、また私は殺されたのか。
After Lena surrendered to the police, all of the classmates were given checkups at the clinic. I didn't get hurt, so I was sent back home after they determined that I had no injuries. My memory started getting vague from that point on, a common characteristic of my violent deaths. When my life is taken away violently, the memory before death becomes vague with static. It's like a violently whipped roll of toilet paper. The example should make it easy to understand, even if it's uncouth. That's why I have no clear memory of what happened and how I died that night. I only have vague memories. I think someone covered my mouth with a handkerchief or something, and I passed out. That's about the only thing that I remember, in only vague way. I'm not even sure if it really happened. The only thing I know for sure is that I was attacked on my way home, or possibly after I got there, and that I was murdered suddenly. I don't know who killed me or how I was killed. I'm glad that at least I don't remember the horrific ending to my life every time it happens. Because of my experiences, I think I now understand why ghosts wander around this world, not knowing that they died so suddenly. If it's a death from a long-lasting illness, people tend to remember that they were sick. They can kind of assume that they died after being sick for a long time. But when your memory is violently disrupted like mine, it can get quite confusing. When I first experienced this, I wasn't sure if I was dreaming or not. I even thought that I hit my head hard and lost my memory. I needed to organize things before I got too confused. My name is Rika Furude. People look at me in a special way, but that's not a big deal for me. All I want is a happy life where I can play around with my best friends. I can't remember how long I've been living just for the sake of attaining that simple happiness. This planet's girl here is named Ren Yu. I'm the only one who can see her. Perhaps she only exists inside of my head? At any rate, Hanyu is invisible and can generally only interact with me. It will be a long story if I try to explain Hanyu's existence, so I won't be doing that right now. God damn it! Ugh. Besides, I don't even know how I should talk about her. She's been there since I was born, and her existence is a natural thing for me. I saw everyone running up the gravel road towards me. They're my important, lovable best friends. Our group's active, boisterous, and we get serious about doing super things. I'm never bored when I'm around them, and I love them very much.
リカちゃん大丈夫？捻挫とかしてない？どこ打ったの？おじさんに見せてみて。ありがとうなのです。頭にタンコブができただけなのですよ。
I think all I got was a bump at least. My injury wasn't as serious as everyone thought.
頭を打った時はその場では大丈夫でも油断がなりませんでしたよ。
それもそうだな。念には念で監督に診察してもらった方がいいかもしれないな。
レナもそれがいいと思うな。どうしよう、監督を呼んでくる？そうだね。近くの家で電話を借りて監督を呼んでみるよ。そこまでしなくても大丈夫なのですよ。この通りピンピンしてますのです。ピパー。ダメですわよリカ。万が一ということがありましたよ。
Satoko warned me with a stern voice. It really wasn't a big deal, but I decided to nod since Satoko was trying to be generous. She wasn't trying to boss me around or anything. She was only saying that because of how much she cares. I've seen it before in the many different lives that I've been through. I have no doubt that she's really concerned about me. It's not just Satoko. Mia and Rana and Kechi are the same. They're all so nice to me and they truly do care. Mion left to look for her phone. Rana also left with a towel, looking for the water tap. Satoko remained nearby, taking care of me with a worried face. And Hanyu was just standing there, still wearing a panicked look. Kechi seemed to be panicked too, but he was trying not to show it. He was standing by me, wearing a calm expression.
大丈夫か？
大丈夫なのですよ。もう全然痛くないのです。
なら不幸中の幸いだったよな。よかったよかった。
I wouldn't feel anything special about his words if this was a little while ago. But at that moment when Wena took over the classroom, when she heard me on, Kechi tried his best to save Rena even so. He was more reliable than I ever imagined from his normal behavior. He's usually an insensitive guy who hurts other people's feelings without noticing, but that's not his true self. He has a secret side. He's willing to sacrifice himself for other people. I was just observing that not too long ago. That's why I can honestly feel his generosity now. Now that I think about it, Kechi regained a memory from another world the previous time around. Is it possible that he carries that memory in this world too? If that's the case, I have some hope. Hanyu and I are totally powerless. Hanyu is only like heir to everyone but me, and I'm just a little girl. There's only so much that we can do ourselves. But Kechi is different. He can change the fate that I once resigned myself to. He's somebody who may have the power to take me to my unseen future. If I can get Kechi to understand me, he could be my hero. Perhaps I'm actually not expecting that much out of him. I just want someone to understand my struggle of being stuck in this maze.
Keiichi?
I spoke to him slowly. It had been a while since I felt so nervous. I hadn't felt this way since I started my endless life in 1983. As a witch, I normally would know what his response would be even before even talking to him. I often remain silent because I already know how pitiful the reply would be. But in that case, why was I so nervous now?
呼んだか、リカちゃん。
Hanyu gave me a disappointed look before I responded to Kechi.
リカ。
I could tell what Hanyu was thinking too. The miracle wasn't going to happen. If miracles do happen, one could have happened many times in my other lives. But I've only seen one miracle before. The miracle that Kechi gave me was a once-in-a-lifetime kind of miracle. Only if it happened again would it be a true miracle. I won't get out of this world just because I rolled 6 on the die once. I can't get out unless I get a miracle that's equivalent to getting 6 on the die 10 times in a row. And so I rolled 10 dice, wishing that they all turn out to be 6.
ケイイチ。
どうしたんだよ。どこか痛むのか？
He looked at me worriedly after I called his name twice.
ケイイチは覚えていますですか？
I knew how sudden my question was. As I thought he would, he looked at me with a confused face.
え？覚えてるって何の話だよ。
I looked inside his eyes to see his true feelings. He should remember, he should know. Even though he doesn't have the memory, Kechi experienced it.
なんですのケイイチさん。何かリカに悪いことでもしたんじゃありませんの？自分の胸によく聞いてごらんなさいですわよ。ケイイチ、学校の屋根の上に登ったことを覚えていますですか？学校の屋根？ケイイチさん、そんなとこに登ったんですの？サトコは黙っててなのです。ケイイチ、 覚えていませんですか？
俺が屋根の上にいつ？いやリカちゃん、それは多分他の誰かの勘違いだろ。俺屋根なんか登ったことないし、登り方だって知らないよ。
Of course you haven't experienced it in this world yet. But please tell me that you remember. I know you've never been up on the roof, but you should still remember doing it. You shouldn't be able to remember it true, but you actually did once. You should be able to remember it once again.
屋根の上にボールでも取りに行ったんじゃありませんの？
いやそんな経験一度もねえよ。聡子は経験あるか？
まさか屋根の上なんて上がったら先生に怒られましたよ。
でもさ、屋根の上で昼寝とかしたら気分が良さそうだよな。
覚えてるわけないのですよ。そんな簡単に奇跡が起こるなら僕もリカもこんな苦労はしないのですよ。
Shut up. I knew that. I knew that he wouldn't remember.
どうせまた僕たちはお祭りの終わりとともに消えてゆく夏のセミの運命なのです。うるさいな。
As I stared at her fiercely, Hanyu realized that she had crossed the line. This might be a waste of time. The maze we're in might not have an exit. It might be an endless loop without a goal in place. We are trapped in this fate. I thought that Kechi might be able to get me out of here. But that Kechi I saw was truly a miracle. A momentary glimmer. The Kechi of this world doesn't bear that same miracle. All the same, I'm not going to give up. Last time too, I gave up on fighting destiny. I realized when I was beyond salvation, so I bid her farewell and forsook that world. But Kechi fought and broke the cycle of fate. I should have worked harder with that Kechi in that world. I could have broken this endless cycle together with him. Am I going to repeat this life waiting for that miracle to happen again? I can't do that. I don't want to repeat the same life anymore. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of this world, my fate, and everything. I'm tired of getting murdered by destiny. Kechi showed me a miracle. I should be able to do the same too. I must fight. I must fight with all my remaining power. I was always fighting. I was fighting when I had more power. But I never made it. How can I expect to win this time? Still, I must fight. Kechi told me that fate can be shattered. I'm going to fight one more time. Jeez. God, what a... Oh my god, that's the end of the chapter. Makes sense. God, what a fucked up, like, hell that is. It's not even... Thing is, it's not even a time loop. At least with the time loop, you can understand the you know what's going to happen. But, like, with this type of loop of fate, you will always have to repeat the same month over and over, seeing your friends dying over and over and over and over again in different ways, in different worlds. And that will... I mean, hell, if that doesn't break anyone, I don't know what will. See the same damn thing happen over and over again. Jeez. God, okay. So that's Hanyu, huh? The damn girl with the horns. I kept seeing her damn image so many times, but I didn't want to look into it because, spoilers. But every time I saw her image, it was just so out of place with every other character portrait. You know? Shrine made an outfit with a damn horns. Alright, let's keep going. Yeah, let's keep going. I want to keep going. To my granddaughter. What is this? I'm sorry for leaving you like this. I just need you to understand I'd rather take my own life than be fearful of how many days I have left to live. That's why I'm writing this letter to you. I can't stand the fear of being unable to leave behind a will while my life is prolonged, even as I lose my consciousness. In the end, there's nothing I can leave behind for you. I was unable to leave any of my achievements to this world. I was forgotten before I was dead. I leave this world a humiliated man, knowing that I had no appreciation from anyone. You must do better than me. You must achieve something that your grandfather was never able to achieve. I don't mind what field you choose. You must leave your mark on this world. You must leave behind your achievements. You will eventually die someday. You will eventually turn to ashes. As a human being, that's your inevitable fate. But if you achieve a great success, you will live forever even after you depart. Those who live beyond their deaths are called gods. I wish to become one, but I was unable to do so. So in my place, you must become a god someday. Damn, that's one hell of a note to leave behind. Alright. Alright, cool, dude. Whoever you are, cool. Cool. That's awesome. Let's keep going.
Hi. もう結構ですよ。
Yuri withdrew the needle from Satoko's arm. It must not have hurt much for the needle to be pulled out. Satoko kept her eyes closed in fear, thinking that the needle was still inside her arm.
さとこ、お注射はもう終わったのですよ。あら、もう終わってたんですの。
Oh my god, Takano in an actual nurse's outfit? Impossible. As Satoko opened her eyes, she found that Ire was no longer sitting in front of her. Takano was wiping her arm with well-being alcohol instead.
そうよ、もう終わってたのよ。入江先生は私よりお注射が上手だから。終わったことにも気づかなかったでしょ。傷口を揉んじゃダメよ。できれば重いものも持たないこと。
ええ、分かっていましたよ。さとこは偉いのですよ。なでなでしてあげますのです。注射くらいもう全然平気ですのよ。理科に撫でられるような覚えはございませんですわ。
Not long ago, she would go into a panic when it was time for her to get her shot. The way she behaved today in itself is worthy of praise. Everyone in the room smiled, aware of that growth.
じゃあ、さとこちゃんはいつもの検査を受けてください。高野さん、お願いします。
ええ。さあ、さとこちゃん、いつものクイズをしましょうね。
高野さんのクイズは答えにくい問題が多くて私苦手ですわね。
いつもと同じよ。答えづらい問題はわからないと言ってくれればいいわ。変に考え込まず、自然に思いついた答えを口にしてくれればいいのよ。
What is it, a Rorschach test? Takano smiled at Sadako to ease her tension. Then she led Sadako to a desk in the back of the examination room.
さとこの具合、良いといいのです。
I don't know if it's because of the heat, but Sadako has been showing negative symptoms since last month. The change of the seasons can affect her physically and emotionally. It's not a surprise that this is happening to her.
私は入江たちのところへでも行って、さとこの容体を聞いてみるわ。羽生はどうする？僕はさとこのそばにいてあげますのです。ありがとう。そうしてあげて。
Hanyu went over to where Sadako was. Fortunately, I'm the only one who can see Hanyu. She won't be distraction if she goes and observes Sadako's test. I, of course, would be a distraction like that. This is supposed to be a routine exam, but it seems like Takano's teasing her by giving her difficult questions. It would be pretty funny to observe how Sadako reacts to them. I'm a little jealous that Hanyu gets to watch everything without being a bother to Sadako. Iri was talking with 2 other staff members about Sadako's exam results. I walked up and joined them.
よかった。では、解放に向かっていますか？
From what Iri was saying, her results must have turned out well.
入江、どうなのですか？
安心してください。いい結果が出ました。では、あとよろしくお願いします。
After ordering his staff to continue their work, Iri showed me some difficult paperwork and started explaining it to me.
先週の検査結果に少々焦りすぎたようです。急に気候が変わったので、交感神経が過敏に反応したのでしょう。風邪をひきかけたりということはありませんでしたか？
Damn allergies. There was one night recently that was fairly hot. Sadako was sleeping without her blanket and her stomach was exposed. She might have caught a cold that night.
お腹を出して寝てたことがありましたです。おへそをつっついたけど起きなかったのです。
それは羨ましい。ぜひ今度そういうことがあったら呼んでください。私もさとこちゃんのおへそをプニプニしてみたいものです。
プニプニなのですよ。お腹もぽよぽよなのです。かわいいからお布団をかけるのがもったいないのですよ。
それがネビエの真相ですか。
リーカー、聞こえていましたよ。そういう時はこっそりお布団をかけてくださいませ。
ダメよ、さとこちゃん。検査中よ。時間も計ってるんだから、こっちに集中して。
Iri, Hanyu, and I all laughed. Sadako went back to her test with a bitter look on her face. Iri began speaking to me in a softer voice.
ただ、小康状態には戻りましたが、レベルはレベル3マイナス。昨日も今日も明日も危険な状態を脱していないことに変わりはありません。
Jeez.
レベル3は永遠に治らないのですか？
アナフェラキシーショックと同じで、仮に異物が完全に取り除かれても、人体側に過剰な反応を示す体質が作られてしまいます。つまり、
さとこは完治しても一生レベル3から治らない。
そういうことになります。ですが、悲観することはありません。規則正しい生活習慣とセルフコントロール、そしてある種の投薬を続けることによって症状の発生を抑えることができます。
一生治らない。
I looked at Satoko as she enjoyed taking her test. She seemed to be having fun, even while being teased by Takano. I can't believe that she's suffering from an incurable disease.
言葉を悪く言えばそうなります。ですが世の中には難病ではあってもうまく病気と付き合っていけるケースも少なくありません。
Jeez.
例えば糖尿病がそうでしょう。病気そのものは生涯治りませんが、その発症は抑えることができます。
I know that very well. There are many worse diseases in the world. Satoko might be in a relatively good situation compared to many other sick people.
もちろんこれで妥協するつもりはありません。聡子ちゃんはきっと完治させます。絶対にです。
信じてますですよ。
God damn it, are you... Man... God damn it, with this information, you tell me this poor fucking girl gets abused by her fucking aunt and uncle and fucking loses her brother and she has a curable... You can't do this to me. You can't do this to me. God damn it. Of course she has a fucking incurable disease. God damn it, why make me cry some more, why don't you, you sick son of a bitch, you IQ 7, you motherfucker. God damn it. God damn it, of course. God fucking damn it. You fucking bitch of a writer.
信じてください。
Stop hurting me like this, god damn it. Oh, God. Oh. Yuri spoke to me with a serious look on his face. As Sadako's best friend, I felt relieved to hear his words. I'm sure he'll do his best to save Sadako's life. I have no doubt that he'll do so. I've seen him act like this in every life I've lived. I also know why he's so passionate to save her, but I'm not supposed to know about it in this life. That's why I always pretend not to see his sad smile.
そうだ、リカさん。月末にまた少し大掛かりな検査があります。
今度は僕がモルモットになる番なのですか？
そんなつもりは。医学に貢献していただいていますし、大勢の人を救うことにもなります。
Yuri's guinea pig is not just Satoko. I'm also one of them. Although guinea pig is probably not the right term. Without Yuri's efforts, Satoko would not be here today. For that reason, I should be showing respect to this man. I smiled at him since my choice of words had hurt his feelings.
僕を調べてサトコの治療に役立つのなら僕がモルモットでもいいのです。
ご協力を感謝します。もう少し人と設備とお金があればこれだけの負担をかけないのですが。
The next moment the phone rang. Yuri answered it in his usual businesslike tone.
はい、もしもし、入江です。
東京から凱旋です。そちらへ回します。
I could hear the voice on the phone.
ああ、リサさんですね。もう今年もそんな時期になりましたか。電話は所長室で取りますから、そっちへ回してください。わかりました。リカさん、すみません。東京からの電話です。
いってらっしゃいなのですよ。
As soon as Yuri hung up the phone in the other room started ringing. He left the examination room and headed towards the office. Hanyu returned to my side as soon as Yuri left. Hanyu doesn't like to be around with me when I'm talking with Yuri. I don't think she dislikes him. It's just that she doesn't really want to hear what he has to say. Yuri doesn't mean any harm, but Hanyu is often hurt by the things that come out of his mouth.
どうさとこの様子は。さとこは相変わらず間違い探しは下手くそなのです。僕の方がいっぱい見つけられましたのですよ。あんたの検査結果なんてどうでもいいでしょ。さとこの結果はどうなの。
I thought she was there to check on Satoko, but she was taking the cruise alongside her instead. That's so typical of Hanyu. She was treating it almost like a game, but Satoko was tired after taking the same quiz every week. She seemed sleepy, especially after waking up so early this morning. The quiz in this case wasn't about a right or wrong answer. It was about timing, in minutes, how long it took her to answer the question, and observing how she acted during the quiz. Not all of the questions would be simple ones, so Satoko often got headaches, more so than even the spelling tests we take at school.
もうほとんど終わりなの。はいです。今高野が持っているのが最後の一冊なのですよ。
Takano showing a book to Satoko with abstract pictures inside. I couldn't even tell if that was supposed to be a picture. It was just a symmetrical ink stain. Hey, I was right in the Rorschach test. Ink stain.
さあ、これで最後よ。これは何に見えるかしら？
Both Hanyu and I looked at the picture over Satoko's shoulders. Even I didn't know what to answer when looking at the strange ink stain.
と
Satoko continued to think. Takano observed her, taking notes while Satoko struggled. She was also timing how long it took her to answer, holding a stopwatch under the table. I spoke to Hanyu so only she could hear me.
羽生は何に見える？このシミ。ソフトクリームなのです。すべて落としてしまって地面にべっしゃりとなのです。もったいない。なるほど。実に相手の考えがわかるテストね。
To me, it looked like a horse mackerel that had been cut open and its guts pulled out. Ooh, lovely! I was thinking of food too. It was rather shocking to learn that my thought processes are the same as Hanyu's. Yeah, well,
何に見えるかしら？
one's a bit more innocent while the other is a bit more graphic in nature.
思いつきでいいのよ。
Satoko must not be very good at this test. She always takes a long time to answer questions like this. She finally opened her mouth to speak.
2匹の蝶々が重なっている感じですわね。
2匹の蝶々が重なって。いいわよ。続けて。どうして蝶々は重なっているのかしら？
Takano continued to take notes as Satoko spoke. Curious about what she was writing, I looked, but... Is that German? Can't read it at all. Takano's so mean.
ずっと離れ離れで会えなかった蝶々がやっと一緒になれて喜んでるところごめんなさいですわね。私も何を言ってるのか自分でよくわかりませんわね。
いえ、そういう答え方でいいのよ。思いついたことが抽象的ならそのまま口にしてくれればいいの。そういう検査なんだから。
本当にこんなへんてこな絵の感想を言うだけで検査になりますの？
なるわよ。例えば今のこの絵だけど、去年のさとこちゃんは別な答えを出してるの。それを比べるだけでも この1年のあなたの変化を測ることができるわよ。
なんだか嫌なテストですわね。去年の私はこの絵に何で答えたのでございますの？
Takano smiled and took a note without answering a question. I tried to remember what her answer was, but I have more than 100 years worth of memories in my head. Hanyu might remember better than I do. As I looked at Hanyu, I realized that she was standing there with a sad expression. I decided not to ask her. I could tell what kind of answer Satoko gave back then just by looking at Hanyu's face. Last year, June 1982, that was when Satoko was being abused by her cruel aunt. Recalling that, I didn't even want to know what Satoko answered. But just a year later, the Satoko who was so worn down could no longer be seen. She became so strong. I know how difficult it was for her to stay tough and strong like this. Her growth over the past year is overwhelming to me.
ケンさん、終わりましたか？
Yuri returned from his office.
ええ、終わりましたわ。
だいぶさとこちゃんも手際が良くなりましたわ。今日はだいぶ早く終わりましたのよ。
早く終わらせるように頑張ったんですもの。今日は用事がある日だからのんびりとはできませんのよ。
おや？今日は何かあるんですか？日曜日ではありませんでしたっけ？
今日はみんなでミーのおじさんのおもちゃ屋さんで部活があるのですよ。
なるほど。さとこちゃんが妙に今日はおとなしく検査に従ってくださると思いました。予定が詰まっていたんですね。それは悪いことをしました。ではさとこちゃん、これはいつものです。
Yuri put a big paper bag on the table. Yeah, chapter 2 also did start on a Sunday as well. Son of a bitch. Yuri put a big paper bag on the table. He opened it up and gave her instructions about the medications. Satoko had heard the same instructions over and over before, but Yuri still continued to talk just the same.
状態がいいようですので、お注射はこれまでの日に2回に戻します。昼食前と就寝前の2回に必ず注射をしてください。
God damn it, Ryuku. I know I already said this before, but god damn it, Ryuku, you really just had to put every fucking just sad topic on one character, didn't you? You just had to put, this is the character they're gonna cry about, god damn it. I wanna make sure those fuckers are gonna cry over Satoko. God damn it. God damn it, Ryuku 7. God damn
注射
you.
針は必ず変えるように。
God fucking damn you.
同じ針を2度使ってはいけませんよ。それからこちらはどうしても体調が悪くなった時のみ食後に。
はいはいはい、いつもと同じですわよ。分かっていましたよ。
I wonder, are these the same syringes that Rika brought to Shion and Rena? That's the only thing I can think of. It would make sense why, yeah, Rika would be the one applying them. She would have the box. But why the hell would she give that to Rena and Shion? And with chapter 6, she said how it would help her. I don't remember the exact conversation, but like it would help her in some way. Satoko couldn't wait to meet her friends for the club activity. It made me feel happy to see her as excited as this.
注射2本に戻りましたのですよ。よかったのです。
The number of shots she has to take each day represents how well she's doing. So it's a good thing that she has to take fewer shots.
大変よね。1日に2本も注射を打つのは。
I knew you grew quiet after hearing my comment. Yuri handed her the paper bag after he finished his instructions.
リカ、終わりましたよ。
ええ、お疲れ様。検査中からずっとそわそわしてたからね。いってらっしゃいな。
すみませんわね、上の空で。いつも検査をしてくださって感謝していますのよ。
ほら、もう時間がないんじゃないの？私の車で送ろうかしら。そうそう、また車に新しいぬいぐるみがあるのよ。今度は約束通り、さとこちゃんが名前をつけてくれていいわよ。
あら、何のぬいぐるみでございますかしら。どんな名前にしようか迷いますわね。何の動物のぬいぐるみなんですの？
また猫なのよ。今度は虎島なの。可愛いからきっと気に入ってくれるわよ。
Satoko and Takano are good friends. They're both fond of stuffed animals. Every time Takano gets a new one, she brags about it to Satoko. That's all they have in common, but having a friend like Takano is a special thing for Satoko. She's part of the Hoijo family who tried to betray the village. People at the clinic are the only adults who will even talk to Satoko. Jeez.
じゃあお二人とも部活行ってらっしゃい。罰ゲームが未定でしたらぜひメイド服の着用を提案してくださいね。サイズから種類までいろいろと取り揃えておりますので。また来週お会いしましょう。
嫌なこったなのですよ。また来週なのです。さ、行きましょうですわ。今日は部活メンバーだけじゃありませんものね。腕が鳴りましたよ。
I bowed slightly and made to leave the examination room, but I soon realized something. Ire was looking at me with a sad expression on his face. Just with that look, I could tell what he wanted to say. Please take care, Satoko-chan, if something happens to her. I nodded at him and stepped out into the hallway of Satoko.
やれやれ。検査は慣れても疲れますわね。検査、お嫌なのですか？めんどくさいから嫌ではありますけど、これも仕事ですもの。仕方ありませんわ。
Satoko is supporting Ire's research. She gets financial support by helping him out. Or at least that's what Satoko thinks she's doing. The hell is Ire's research then to this disease, huh? Satoko was bursting with enthusiasm, so he headed to Okayama at full speed. We wound out waiting for Kechi and the other club members for a long time. We got here early, but they were late. I think they were late the last time we did this too. Did it mean that this was something that was meant to happen? It's unpleasant that I can't even change the most minor of fates. I finally saw them coming towards us on their bikes.
皆様方、お待ちしてましたよ。
Satoko acted like she was upset, but I could tell that she was pleased to see them just the same.
さとこが可愛いのですよ。そこが飽きないのよ。可愛すぎる。
Satoko's behavior soothes my feelings of frustration. This is why I love Satoko. If she was a small, fluffy animal, I would definitely keep her in a cage.
さとこちゃん、リカちゃん、おはよう。おはようございますなのです。
おはようリカちゃん。さとこ、警察が来る前にケリをつけるぞ。
I think I have to turn down the music. a bit loud. Voice. Music is the same as the sound. I'll just turn down a little bit though. Right there should be fine.
目標は10億強奪だ。
圭一さんの話がわかりませんわ。遅くなったかな。リカちゃんたちは今来たの？今日は早く終わったのでだいぶ待ってましたですよ。
Mion and Wena know that Satoko gets a checkup every Sunday at the clinic.
そりゃあ悪いことをしたわ。こっちはケイちゃんがなかなか来なくてさ。
That catchy. So he's the reason they're always late.
圭一では仕方ありませんですよ。ミパ
ちょい待て。俺が悪役になりゃ丸く収まるのかよ。
ー、もちろん圭一さんでなくては務まらない大役でしたよ。
実に嫌な大役だな。こんなので丸く収まると思ったら大間違いだぞ。
Catchy and Satoko messed around with each other. Satoko acted like she was crying and Wena punched Catchy, knocking him out cold. It was the same old situation they always got into. They can watch this sort of thing forever. It's like having a glass of cold milk after taking a hot bath.
やっぱりこれが正しい丸い収め方だよな。
前歯が欠ける前に新しいオチを探した方がいいと思うけどね。
We all laughed at him and finished greeting each other.
今日もみんなとっても元気なのです。元気に勝る宝はないわね。そんなこと言ってるとリカはどんどん老け込んじゃいますのです。うるさいな。誰のせいだと思ってんのよ。当分甘いものを食べるのやめるわよ。
Aw. Hanyu seemed to begin more depressed than usual. I should stop teasing her so much.
嘘よ。冗談だからあんまりひっつかないで。ごめんなさいなのです。
Hanyu loves sweet treats. She especially loves cake and ice cream. Man, I'm just realizing this now. You can really just get used to a fucking ghost girl, huh? Yeah, just like that, huh? She especially loves cake and ice cream. Since she can't eat anything, she has to depend on me when it comes to that. In other words, whatever I eat, Hanyu can taste too. Even if Hanyu craves something, it doesn't mean anything if I don't eat it. In other words, I have total control of what she eats. That's why it's fun to tease her with saying what I'll eat and what I won't. It's almost as fun as teasing Satoko.
リカちゃんは今日もご機嫌だね。お持ち帰り。
はいはい、お持ち帰ったら犯罪だからね。
ミオン、店のおじさんが呼んでるぜ。
リカ、聞きまして。今日の部活、賞金が出るんだそうですのよ。
I remember. Mion was going to be paying 50,000 yen out of pocket as a prize. I couldn't believe that she could just afford that. Therefore, I have to assume that she has some kind of a guarantee that she won't lose.
なんと5万円でしたよ。5万円。
Satoko stared at me. Oh no. She was expecting me to be surprised to hear that the price was 5,000 yen. 50,000 yen. It's natural to be surprised after hearing that sum. But I didn't react because I already knew it. Perhaps I gave the impression that I've known it for a long time.
ケイチさん、5万円なんてすごい賞金と思いませんですこと
5万円なんだよそれ。圭一王国の5年分の GNP に匹敵するぞ。
Satoko said the same thing to Kechi. She probably assumed that I wasn't listening to her, so she decided to talk to Kechi instead.
小さなミスよ。大丈夫。5万円もあればもうずっと使い切れないくらいのお醤油が買えますです。なんで5万円分もお醤油を買わないといけないんですの。お醤油を買ってきてと言ってもめんどくさがる人がいるからなのですよ。ミパーリカって結構根に持ちますのね。
5万円分の醤油って一体どのくらいだよ。
At least 2 bottles.
すげえ量になりそうだな。
Kechi joined the conversation, which finally brought us back to our normal pace. In order to pursue a greater happiness, I need to sacrifice a smaller one. In a perfect world, Rika Furude was supposed to be surprised to hear from her best friend that the prize was 50,000 yen. But I already knew that. I knew it from my previous wives, so all I could do was give her a boring reaction. I can't be surprised at the big prize of 50,000 yen. I can't give her the reaction that she expects from me. I'm losing the ability to be surprised by life. And after the continual repetition of small incidents like this, there will be nothing left that I can find interesting. I'll have nothing to be surprised about. I'll never be impressed with anything. Eventually, I'll lose my emotions entirely. That's why I'm always trying to be careful. And make sure I act like the Rika Furude who doesn't know anything. Even though I may not be impressed, as a young girl, Rika Furude should be impressed with many things. Rika Furude is supposed to act excited when she encounters something for the first time. I try to, at least. But the more and more I try, the more I feel like Rika Furude is someone very distant.
リカ、ごめん。こういうことで感情を灰色にするとまた寿命が縮んじゃうわね。世界をもっと楽しまなきゃ。
I don't mean my lifespan, little I. I'm not referring to my physical lifespan, but my mental one. The more and more I repeat the same days, the more I lose. From wonder to passion, and eventually my life will become like an overplayed videotape. If I'm tired of that tape, I have a choice to close my eyes and sleep. By the time I wake up, the video should be over. But in reality, my life is not a beat-up old videotape. If I close my eyes and sleep, that would be my death. When my mental lifespan is over, Rika Furude will turn into a doll who can't even move a finger by her own will. When that happens, my pursuit of happiness will be over. I don't want that to happen. It's been at least 100 years, if not more. I have been stuck in this living hell for so long. I don't want my life to end here.
ごめん。もう大丈夫。100年程度で愚痴ってたらあんたに笑われちゃうものね。僕はもう運命に慣れていますのですから。よし、大丈夫。私はフルでリカ。私はフルでリカ。
If I don't stay focused on being Rika Furude, I'm afraid I might end up showing my true self inside of that shell. Rika Furude is supposed to be a cute and innocent little girl after all.
みー、 ったら5万円で何を買いますですか？ランディ君人形とか売ってもらえないのかな。沖宮のチェーン店に5万円持ってったら売ってくれないかな。はお。その5万円で鎖を切る工具と第八車を買った方が早いと思いますです。レナさんだったら素手で鎖を引きちぎりかねませんわね。
違いない違いない。
はお、ひどい。
Thus, we rejoin the typical flow of conversation naturally. Once I enter that flow, it's not hard for me to continue as Rika Furude. Being Rika Furude is like flying a kite for me. Once it's up in the air, I can stay in the sky for a while. But if something happens and it loses control, it's one heck of a challenge to get it back on track. Me and you, sister. I mean, you and me, sister. Every time it tries to get back up in the air, the kite gets dragged on the ground and wears out. I'm exactly like that. Finally, Mion started clapping her hands to get everyone's attention. I already knew the rules. The members will be broken into 5 different groups, and each group plays a game they choose together. I was secretly hoping that Mion would change the rules for some reason. There's nothing more boring than to already know what was going to happen.
ミオンの部活って割と気まぐれなことが多いもの。ひょっとするとルールは違うこともあるかも。普段ならそういうこともあると思いますですが、今日はきっと何日も前から計画していたことだと思うのです。強い意志は運命になりやすいだったわね。
Normally, when we're doing club activities, Mion decides what to play at the last minute. She opens her locker and randomly decides what game to play. For that reason, our club activities are rarely repeated throughout my lives. That's why I'm never bored with them. But just as Hanyu said, today's event was something that Mion had been planning for a while. God. Now, all those damn tips from Chapter 4 is making so much more sense now that we're Lily and Rika's thought process of how she wishes for a rain cloud once in a while for something unusual to happen, because repeating the same day over and over again can drive anyone mad. I was certain that she wouldn't suggest anything spontaneously today. In that case, this won't be up to random chance. Mion had only one idea in her mind. Therefore, it was equivalent to destiny. Although her idea of having this event in a toy store is actually a spontaneous one. And all the lives are repeated, there's a very well chance for this event to occur.
だからあまりそういうのは期待しない方がいいのです。期待してるわけじゃないわ。
Of course, I was lying just now. I was hoping that Mion would suggest a new rule for this game. If it was the same rules again, I'd be suffering for a few minutes while I listened to her instructions. Nothing is more frustrating than walking the same path over and over again. Please, Mion, please change my fate. Please.
まずはくじ引きで5つの卓に分かれるよ。そして各卓から1人の勝者を出して。
It was the same rules after all.
ごめん。ちょっと期待した。変な期待はかえって理科を傷つけますですよ。そうね。何度も教えられてるのに私も学ばないわね。
Hanyu has taught me so many times. She taught me the trick to swimming in the flow of destiny. The flow of destiny is just like rivers. By going with the flow, I can swim the direction I want to some extent, but Of course, trying to swim against the flow requires great effort. Allowing myself to drift causes the least amount of strain. Of course, some strong currents are impossible to resist even with great effort. If I recklessly try to resist without realizing it's impossible, then I'll only wear myself out needlessly, just as if fighting a river's current. So Anu taught me to read those currents, which is why I should have easily imagined that the rules would be the same the moment I learned Mion had planned today's event in advance. Yet I still wish the rules would be different, a completely wasteful action. In the end, my hopes were betrayed, only leaving my heart worn out. And things like that caused me to separate further from Rika Furude. Eventually, I'll grow tired of everything, lose all interest, and die.
抗えない運命は受け入れる。リカなら運命の流れを読むことができますですよ。そうよね。ただでさえ短い残りの寿命、大事にしないとね。
I sighed and pretended as though I was listening to what Mion was explaining.
どうしたんだリカちゃん、退屈なのか？
Gechi surprised me all of a sudden.
退屈って僕がですか？
This had never happened before, so I thought he was talking to someone else. But it seemed like Gechi really was talking to me.
うん。なんか今朝は会ってからずっと退屈そうな顔をしてるからさ。ひょっとして早起きしすぎて寝不足なのか？
前に同じ部活をやったことがあるので、またなのかと思っただけなのです。
No one would understand what I mean anyway. But Gechi might. And so I told him how I honestly felt.
え？なんだそうなのか？なんだミオンめ、道理で手慣れてると思ったぜ。ま、俺は初めての参加だから十分楽しみだけどな。
I envied him for feeling that way. I sighed, knowing that I never will.
確かにすでに知ってる説明を延々と繰り返されると苦痛な時ってあるよな。俺も昔塾で学校のだいぶ先まで習っててさ、遅れて習う学校が苦痛だったことがあるよ。
Kechi didn't understand me, but I'm glad that at least he understood how frustrating it was to repeat the same situation.
そうなのです。僕も学校は特に苦痛なのですよ。
え？本当かよ。いつも楽しそうにしてるじゃないかよ。
Rika Furude is supposed to be happy at school. That's why I act that way.
すでに知っていることを延々と聞き続けなければならないのは拷問以外の何者でもないと思いますのです。
It's easy for me to change what Satoko cooks for dinner. I can simply volunteer to cook instead of her. But I can't change what the teacher teaches at school every day. I have no choice but to be quiet and listen to her lecture.
まあ授業はどうしようもないよな。俺はそこを塾で習ってますから、その次をやってくださいなんて生意気言ったらいろいろと怒られるもんな。でもこいつは違うぜ。遊びじゃないか。
遊びではありますが決まってるのですよ。
A game we've seen over 7 times already.
わかんねえぜ。だって5択に分かれるのはくじ引きだそうじゃないか。しかもそれぞれの択で何のゲームをやるかは任意に決めることになってる。今日どんなゲームで戦わされてどんな展開で盛り上がるかなんか全然想像がつかねえぜ。
予想はつきますですよ。
そんなことねえよ。
Kechi smiled as he contradicted me. That smile seemed so ignorant to me.
くじ引きで5択に分かれますですが、部活メンバーはきれいに5択に分かれますです。圭一はあそこ、僕はそこの択なのです。そして僕は魚釣りのゲームをすることになります。圭一はすごろくの100億長者ゲームなのです。
I don't know how, but last time we were broken into 5 separate groups. It couldn't have been a coincidence. I'm sure Mion did something to assure it would end up like that. I'm 100% sure. As for the games we play, I'm not totally sure about it. If each member in the group follows the same thinking patterns, they'll probably end up making the same choices. If you roll dice many times, you begin to approach the average. One person's spontaneous act can be random, but multiple people's thoughts can be averaged out for the most part. The more people that are involved, the more difficult it is to alter the path of fate. That's why I'm pretty sure that we'll end up playing the same games. Kechi seemed surprised to hear my prediction.
なんだよそれ。予言か？よくそこまで言い切れるじゃねえか。
運命とはそういうものなのです。
へへ、運命なんて言われるとよ、意地でも抗ってみたくなるのが男ってもんだよな。
He smiled at me again. I knew that he was just smiling without reason, but I felt a small hope from him. After all, Kechi really did shatter fate before, but that was just a miracle that happened in my previous life. I couldn't expect him to do the same thing in this one. Otherwise, I would be worn down by my high expectations again.
はい、くじ引きはこの箱の中から1枚引いて決めよう。まず部活メンバーからね。
Mion drew first, and Satoko followed. Their results are the same as the last time.
初戦で部活メンバーとは当たりたくねえな。もしリカちゃんと当たったらごめんよ。
当たりませんですよ。圭一の択はあそこ、僕の択はそこなのです。
ちぇ、そううまくいってたまるかよ。うりゃ。
Kechi looked upset.
ね、僕の予言は外れないのです。
5択の一つってことは 20% だもんな。適当に言ったってそれだけの確率で当たるってことさ。
Kechi told me that was just a coincidence.
なら僕のくじも予想通りだったなら何パーセントの確率になりますですか
？20% の 20% だから4% だな。さすがにこの確率だったら信じてもいいぜ。
Kechi grinned at me, believing that such a chance was impossible.
さあ、最後はリカちゃんだよ。
Mion handed me the box of slips. No matter what I did, I'll be getting that table. There is a reason behind it. Mion was doing something to make sure that we all get a different table. I thought about why Mion would do that. With the information I'd gathered about Mion over many years, I could see her reasoning.
多分ミオンは部活のメンバーの誰かが1回戦で負けてしまったら気の毒だと思っているのでしょう。そうね、同じ卓に部活メンバーがぶつかり合ったらどちらかのメンバーは必ず敗退することになる。
If everyone was in a different group, we'd all have a chance to move on to the second stage. That's why she was controlling this draw. I put my hand inside of the box. I could feel several folded pieces of paper inside it. But if you thought for a moment, it was odd. No matter which one I choose, I never get any other table.
どういう仕掛けでリカを最後の卓へ送るようにしているのですか？さあ、それはミオンに聞かないとわからないわね。でも一つ言えるのは、多分 この箱の中のどれを引いてもあの卓になると書いてあるはず。
I got it.
その箱の中には今同じくじしか入っていない？そういうことになるわね。多分ミオンの持つこの箱は何か細工がしてあるんでしょうね。
It was probably a box for a magic show or something. There could be some kind of gimmick inside the box, and she can switch what's inside of it. Depending on who's drawing the paper, she'd change out the lots and control the result. I didn't know exactly how, but I was sure she was doing something. I didn't even need to know how she was doing it. The most important thing was why.
みー、どれにしようか迷いますです。
さあさあ、どれを選んでも運命は一緒だよ。
She was admitting it herself. I was certain then. Based on what I felt inside, there were less than 10 pieces of paper inside this box. In other words, there were hidden pieces of paper that I couldn't touch somewhere inside the box. I smiled at Mion as I figured out her trick, but she had no clue why I was smiling.
ではこれなのです。
はいよ、どれどれ。おお、すごいね。部活メンバーが全員きれいに分かれたよ。
Damn, who would have guessed? Mion behaved as though this was news to her. She's such an actress. The other contestants made a dissatisfied noise. They'd have to face a club member no matter which table they got. Kichi was surprised too. And not only because we were divided.
ね。運命は決まっていることなのです。
I smiled at him in return. Kichi was in denial for a moment, but then he smiled back at me.
25分の1の確率で当てるとはやるじゃねえか。
He was not. I predicted that me and Satoko would be at different table, so the possibility was even lower than that. Kichi understood that, but normal people like him can't understand the meaning of fate. That's why he put it off as a coincidence. But Kichi, what if my prediction is right about what game you'll be playing? The possibility will be 1 in billions. There are a lot of games in the store. What if that prediction is right too? Will we still believe it's just a coincidence? I stayed quiet in my seat and waited to see what game my group was going to decide on. They were going to choose the fishing game. I can't expect them to choose anything other than that.
期待して裏切られたらまた辛くなるものね。
One of the boys stood up. He walked towards a shelf full of games and picked up one box. He lifted the box above his head and turned around so he could show it to us. I closed my eyes as he did so, but I could still hear what he was saying.
見ろよ、これこれ。懐かしいよな。これにしねえか。
ああ、知ってるよそれ。魚がくるくる回って口をパクパクさせるのを釣るやつだろ。
I could taste the bitter chemicals from my brain in my mouth. I crunched my lips and tried to endure the numbing feeling.
ごめん。今日は体調が悪いのかしらね。なぜかうまく受け流せないわ。
It wasn't because I wasn't feeling well, of course. It was because of my emotions. Our powers are getting weaker, and we can only rewind about 2 weeks of our lives. I was feeling that the end was near for us. In order for me to change my tragic fate, I need some more time to prepare. But I can only go back 2 weeks. That means my power to resist my fate has significantly weakened. Even if I become as weak as a small leaf in the river, I should be able to do something in order to change my path. But if I can When we go back to the point where I'm getting ready to be swallowed into the whirlpool, there's no chance for me to escape it. I've lived for so long, believing that I could eventually escape my fate and survive. I believed that I had a chance in every moment of every life I've lived. But there are limits to those chances. There are also so many limits in my repeated lives. Perhaps this might be my last chance. That may be why I'm feeling so restless.
ダメです、リカ。難しく考えれば考えるほど心に良くないのです。
分かってるわよ。ちょっと黙ってて。
あうあうあうあう。
My brain was numb, as if surrounded by a gray mist. I was inside the crowded toy store, but it felt very far away from everyone else. The tighter I closed my eyes and the harder I clenched my teeth, the emptier my head became. No, no, no.
リカ、リカ、しっかり。
As I tried to focus, I became conscious again. Hanyu looked at me with concern. I tend to lose my mind easily right after coming back from death. I usually have more time to relax and get used to my new life. But I have no time for that now. The Higurashi festival is only 2 weeks away. I can't just relax and wait for myself to get used to things. Don't be a wimp, Wika. Don't be a wimp. Fight against fate. But even if I do, that fate always betrays me, and I grieve. What if I did the opposite? What if I didn't fight against fate? A few weeks after the Higurashi festival in 1983, I will die because I am fated to do so. Fight. Don't fight. 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 As I repeat the same words, they started to lose all meaning. I felt like I was chanting something. I bit my tongue in my mind and forced myself to stop thinking about it. I was calming down a little bit. When I opened my eyes, I saw the fishing game right in front of me, as well as my pole. Someone placed it there while I had my eyes closed. It was as if seeing the immovable reality of fate right in front of me. It felt like a final verdict to me. What do you think, Kechi? This is what fate is all about. Do I want to earn his agreement or his sympathy? I stood up and walked towards Kechi's table. His group couldn't decide on the game, so the store owner was deciding for them. Just like the last time, the store owner will pick the game of life.
やっぱり相手の提案するゲームじゃ不利だもんな。なんて言って互いの提案を蹴り合うもんだからちっとも決まりゃしねえんだ。リカちゃんの方は決まったのか？
見ればわかりますですよ。
He looked at my table and saw the fishing game there. Kechi was surprised to see that my prediction was right again. He also remembered that I predicted his game too.
じゃあマスターはリカちゃんの予言した100億長者ゲームを持ってくるっていうのかよ。
僕は時々予言もできますのですよ。リパーン。
本当かよおい。よしよし。じゃあマスターが本当に100億長者ゲームを持ってきたなら信じてやるぜ。
そうです。圭一たちは100億長者ゲームで戦うことになりますです。
I don't know if I'm going crazy, but didn't she say it was going to be billionaire?
よしよし、そこまで言うなら勝負しようじゃねえか。あ、マスターを買収してあるなんてのはなしだぞ。
マスターが売れ残りのゲームを持ってこようと強く思っているなら必然の結果になりますのです。
I remembered it was covered by dust when he gave it to them last time. Since we had to buy the game if he was trying to sell products he had a surplus of. Therefore, he won't be choosing any game at random. We'll be looking for one with bad sales, with a strong will to do so. That will of his is going to make the pull of fate all the stronger. In that sense, there's no guarantee that he'd be choosing the game of life specifically. He might choose something else that's also overstocked. The owner finally reappeared with a box covered in dust.
ね、言った通りなのですよ。
He has a Game of Life box in his hands. The part of me that hoped it wouldn't be the Game of Life tasted bitterness at the betrayal, but the cynical part of me that expected it to happen found it amusing in a way. I felt like my personality was twisting more and more.
マスター、どうしてそのゲームを選んだんです？
ん？いやいや、本当に気まぐれだよ。倉庫の在庫から適当に探し出したのさ。決して売れ残りの一番傷んだやつを持ってきたわけじゃないんだよ。
When he heard that the owner chose the game randomly, Kechi shrugged his shoulders in confusion. That must be his way of surrendering.
なあ、リカちゃん、これってマジの予言なのか？
ミパ
いやさ、村のお年寄りにリカちゃんはお社様の生まれ変わりで神通力があるって力説されたことがあるんだよ。
Well, that's for true.
未来の予言とかができてものすごい的中率だとかなんとか。それって本当なのか？
I was surprised that Kechi actually believed the superstitious stories he heard from the elderly villagers.
決まっている運命を読むだけなのです。もっと言えば、前に一度見てきた世界なのですから。
チェックソ、ここまで当てられちゃそんなバカなとも言えやしない。
Kechi seemed like he was just fooling around. He probably only thinks I'm goofing around and acting hardly because my random predictions all came true. I had hope for him. I thought the owner might bring a different game because Kechi once had the power to change fate. But that didn't happen. I'm not surprised. But I felt betrayed again. Huh? It hurts.
賭けは僕の勝ちなのですよ。
I speak to Kechi sarcastically. I wanted him to understand that no one can change the path of fate. However, Kechi did nothing but smile.
調子に乗るなよ、リカちゃん。運命を読めるなんていい加減なことを言っちゃいけないぜ。男にとって宿命と運命という言葉はもっともっと尊くて熱い意味がこもってるんだ。そんなやすやすと読めるようなもんじゃねえ。
I had no idea what he was trying to say, but he made me nervous. It wasn't a scary feeling. No, it was closer to hope.
さっきリカちゃんはマスターが100億長者ゲームを持ってくることを運命だと言った。偶然であったとしても的中したのだからリカちゃんが正しいと言わざるを得ないさ。でもな、こうも言ったよな。
何ですか？
俺が100億長者ゲームで戦うことも運命だってな。
Yes, it was indeed his fate. Fate can change sometimes with uncertainty and time, but the possibility that it would change in this situation was very slight. I doubted that anything would turn out differently.
なら、その運命とやらを俺がぶち壊してやろうじゃないか。
Kichi stood up in a hurry. Then he started talking to Tomoki and Okama, his group members.
すまん、俺100億長者ゲームは持ってるんだよ。だからルールの裏の裏まで知り尽くしてる。
そうなんですか？
ああ。だからこのセレクトはフェアじゃないよな。マスター、申し訳ないんですけど、100億長者ゲームの隣に置いてあった他のゲームに変えてもらえませんか？
そうかい？わかったよ。じゃあ他のを持ってこよう。
The owner picked up the Game of Life again and took it back into storage. As he remained there in shock, he returned with a game called Pop-Up Pirate.
これならどうかな？
あの樽にナイフを刺すゲームですよね。
どうだよ二人とも。これならフェアだろ？
そうですね。ルールもわかりやすいし、それにしましょう。
じゃあ決まり。俺たちの卓はこれで勝負だ。
Kichi winked at me as I stood there with my mouth open. It looked like he had just forcefully changed my prediction. But for me, it's not that simple. It was supposed to be fate. That's why the owner brought the Game of Life to their table. They were supposed to play that game. That's what happened the last time. That's what was supposed to happen. But he just changed that fate in front of my eyes like it was nothing. It's as if someone asked me to stand an egg on its end. And as I struggled to do so, Kechi forcefully cracked the egg and made it stand up in front of me. I should have had a far greater power than Kechi, but why was I feeling so weak? Was it because I wasn't trying to fight against fate so I wouldn't get hurt? Because I was going with the flow without trying too hard? What was I thinking?
リカちゃんさ、さっきすっげえつまらなさそうな顔してたよな。それってあれだろ？魚釣りゲームじゃ嫌だなって不安が的中しちゃってふてくされてたんだろ？
そうね。今さら隠さない。
じゃあ簡単じゃないか。
So I'm a witch who's been living for more than 100 years. So I thought I was better than everyone just because I can't see I can see the paths of fate. That's stupid. I really am so stupid. Kechi tapped me on the back with a weird sound effect. He was urging me to return to my table. The sensation of his touch filled up my heart with emotion. I wasn't going to stand idly by anymore. I thought I couldn't cheat fate. I thought 2 weeks wasn't enough. But Kechi just defied his fate in a matter of 5 minutes.
僕は魚釣りゲームはお魚さんがかわいそうだと思いますので、他のゲームにしたいのですよ。
The other people at my table looked at me with confused expressions. Their reactions were scaring me. Right at that moment, I could really feel that I was facing the impenetrable wall of fate. Even so, I have nothing to be scared of.
そっか。じゃあリカちゃんは何がいい？リカちゃんの提案する他のゲームでいいよ。
They accepted my suggestion and gave up on the fishing game so easily. That's right, I used to be so much more aggressive before, but I became so tired and bitter and mean. I gave in to fate. That I'm not going to yield anymore. Kechi told me that. He didn't have any memories from his previous life, but Kechi was still Kechi. He'd never give in to fate.
久しぶりに運命と戦おうという気力が充実するのを感じるわ。やる気があれば、ものの5分でだって運命は変えられる。それが2週間もあるんだもの。今回はこれまでとは違う。もっともっと運命と戦ってみせる。頑張りましょうなのです。
In contrast to my motivation, Hanyu was wearing a sad expression.
そっか。おじさんの店の手伝いってんじゃ仕方ねえな。
God, I just came to a weird realization. I've just realized the older we become, the more we sacrifice ourselves to fate. You know? Sacrifice ourselves to the mundane. That's why young people, the youth, or whatever you want to call them, are always characterized with rebellion. Rebellion against anything, really. Ideologies, systems. But really, what rebellion is rebellion against tradition, or fate, or whatever you want to call it. And as we get older, as we get, jobs, we, depending on job, of course, repeat the same type of day over and over again, and we seek to change that, but some people just resign themselves to that fate of working day to day in order to get a paycheck, in order to go home, to work the next day, and I guess in that sense we do sacrifice ourselves to fate as we get older. It's not something that applies to everyone, of course, but it does apply to quite a few people, especially in the olden days, of resigning ourselves to doing the same thing over and over again. And we just let ourselves just keep doing the same things over and over again until we're dead, until we die. And that's, some people are just like, yep, that's my fate. It's just to work, go home, drink, or, entertain ourselves and do it over and over again until we're dead. And we just resign ourselves to that type of fate. How the fuck is an anime game able to like make me realize these, these concepts, these realizations? That's great writing, of just able to realize things in reality, of just letting us be consumed by fate itself. God, this fucking game's great, man. It's so fucking great.
ささやかなお店だけどね。でもさ、特売やれば主婦が殺到するの常識で読めないのかね。店員足りないのに卵1パックを一人様1点限り10円なんてやるなー。
As we were getting ready to move on to the next stage, Mion got a call from work. This was fated to happen too. If I was still feeling depressed, I would have been disgusted with the situation. After learning what it felt like to change fate, I was in a good mood. Kechi and Mion seemed like they kept regretting that they were unable to settle the match. They really are such good friends.
本当にあの二人は仲がいいね。仲良しさんすぎてレナは焼いちゃうよ。はあ、うちのクラスにはケイイチさんと近い年の男子がいませんものね。ケイイチさんにはちょうどいい男友達の感覚なんじゃありませんの？それでもみーちゃんは女の子なんだよ。男の子にはなれないよ。それは分かってますけど、こうしていると仲のいい男子同士にしか見えませんわね。
Ren and Satoko enjoyed the lingering excitement of the day as they watched Mia and Kechi happily goof off. The next moment, the owner came out from the store.
みんな、今日は本当にありがとう。おかげでイベントは大盛り上がりだったよ。
He was holding out 4 paper bags in his hands. I remember, he gave us gifts as a reward for today. I think they were dolls inside.
大したものじゃないけど、これ今日のおだちんに。
あ、吉郎おじさん、私にはないのおだちん。
He was giving them only to us. Neon didn't get anything because she's a family member. That's what happened last time too.
あらあらあら、可愛いのが出てきましたわよ。
Satoko let out a cheer of joy as she saw a cute doll inside of her bag. Wena reacted the same way.
これかわいい。お持ち帰りしていいの？本当に？
ってことは俺のもかな。なんだかやたら可愛いのが出てきたぞ。
Kechi got a gorgeous, expensive-looking doll. It was by far the best one. It was adorable even to my eyes. Satoko, Wena, and Mion were feeling the same way.
ケイちゃんには一番似合わないのが出てきちゃったね。
Mion started making fun of him right away. She was only saying that because she was jealous that Kechi got a doll that she really wanted.
なんつうのか、プリティっていうかキュートっていうか、可愛いのは認めるんだが、着せ替え人形はちょっとな。
ケイちゃんが持ってたら確実に明日から変な趣味の人扱いだね。うん。
Mion just can't be honest with herself. It was obvious that she was just trying to make him give up the doll so she could have it herself. She should just admit that and ask Kechi for it. But that's the cute side of Mion. I bet Kechi can never understand that. Kechi can't keep the doll after receiving that much bullying from Mion. He was thinking about who he should give it to. He probably didn't want to give it to Mion. Time froze for a moment. Hanyu whispers something in my ear.
リカ、覚えていますですか？
ええ。
Wait, huh? Wait, huh? What, huh? Excuse me, huh? What? Wait, huh? Oh, shit. Oh. Fucking you. I know what's the right choice in this. I advised him on who he should give the doll to. I remember that Kechi's insensitive decision eventually caused a fatal ending. That was fate. Kechi was internally thinking that he should give the doll to Mion. She was the only one who didn't get anything, so it would be natural for him to give it to her. But the hesitation he was feeling was because Mion was such a close friend to him. He'd been treating Mion as if she was a male friend, but it would be weird to give a doll to another boy. He was afraid that if he gave the doll to Mion, he would start working at her as a girl from that point onward. He wanted to continue his friendship with Mion without thinking about their difference in gender. He didn't want to ruin the relationship they had at that moment. That's why he couldn't give the doll to Mion. Even though she was the only one without a doll, he felt so hesitant. Of course, that was only how he felt. Mion didn't agree. In actuality, she wished he would treat her more like a girl. I walked closer to Kechi so I could talk to him. If Mion heard me telling Kechi to give her the doll, she would resist taking it. I had to make sure that no one but Kechi could hear me. I also had to make this very quick. I poked Kechi in the back.
Huh?
Kechi, the person who really wants that doll is the one who's bullying you the most about it. I was going to say that, but Kechi opened his mouth first, even before I could say anything to him.
ああ、わかってるって。
I hadn't said anything to him yet, but Kechi told me that he knew. I felt confused, not knowing what he just meant. He turned around to face Mion, smiling mischievously.
ミオン、俺が持ってると変な趣味なら、こりゃ誰が持ってりゃ丸く収まるってんだ？ん？
そんなことは知らないよ。まあお人形なんて男の子の持つものじゃないよねって言っただけだしさ。
ほう。じゃあお前が持てば万事解決じゃないか。ほれ。
Kechi tossed a doll to Mion as if passing her a basketball, as if forcing to her to carry his bag or something. Mion's face quickly turned red. Feeling shy, Kechi turned away from her. That was surprising. He got my message just by getting a tap on his back. Was Kechi always that smart? Just one tap was all it took. I don't think he would have done the same in a previous life. This was just a small incident, but this world is definitely different from the previous one. Or could it be? Perhaps he would have given that doll to Mion even if I didn't poke him in the back?
以前の世界の記憶を受け継いでいる。
Maybe, maybe not.
まさかそんなことあるわけがないのです。
I know for a fact that he doesn't have those memories, but there might be something imperceptible somewhere inside his heart. He might remember some of the regrets he felt in the previous worlds. That's why he strongly felt he should be giving the doll to Mion this time. After repeating so many lives, I'm the only one who can even notice this slight growth of his. But I see it. It's clearly visible to me. Mion, having turned red, insisted that the cute doll would be a much better fit for Rena. Her attitude made it clear that she really wanted the doll but couldn't be honest about it.
だからさ、おじさん、こういう可愛いお人形はさ、ちゃんとした可愛い女の子に渡した方が似合うと思うんだよね。私みたいなアウトドア系に渡してもほら、人形の方がかわいそうというか。
欲しいくせに顔に書いてあるじゃねえかよ。
違う、書いてなんかないよ。嘘つき、意地悪。
Mion shook her head with an embarrassed look, pretending she wasn't interested in the doll. Everyone here knew that she wanted it. We all looked at Mion with big smiles on our faces.
おいおい、別に女の子じゃないと人形は渡せないとか、そういう考え方じゃねえぞ。こいつは俺と今日の部活で熱い睨み合いをしてくれた親友への贈り物なんだぜ。
そうなの？ケイちゃんは男の子の友達にも人形を渡すわけ？
まあ確かに選べる範囲があるならわざわざ人形は選ばねえな。でもよ、男の世界じゃ相手に悪意がない限り贈り物は拒まねえぜ。相手の気持ちなんだからよ。変に断られるとかえって男気がないよな。
じゃあその女の子でなくても人形を受け取ってもいいんだ。
Everyone thought Mion's reaction was hilarious. Lena couldn't stop chuckling. Satoko and I burst out laughing too. Neon, having realized she was being laughed at, got even more embarrassed.
男が仲間に送ったもんだぜ。大事にしなかったら承知しないぞ。
うん。おじさんがこの人形が欲しいからもらうんじゃないよ。ケイちゃんが仲間に送るって言ったから、ケイちゃんの顔を立てるために受け取るんだからね。
Hanyu was cracking up too. She was laughing in a round voice, knowing that no one could hear her anyway. But was this really a good way to resolve the problem? I thought that Mion's issue in the previous wife was that she wanted Kechi to treat her like a girl. She got the doll, but Kechi still wasn't treating her that way. Still, Mion looked very happy. Maybe it wasn't a big deal after all. I'm sure that Mion will take that doll with her to bed tonight. She'll kiss it goodnight too. I could bet on that. It was written all over her face.
ようやく受け取ってくれたぜ。人形1個渡すのに手間のかかるやつだぜ。
Kechi turns around to face us, smiling bitterly.
ケイチくん100点満点かな僕もそう思いますです。あの意地っ張りのミオンによくお人形を渡せましたです。ミオンさんも笑っちゃいますわね。欲しいってあんなに顔に書いてあるのに痩せ我慢なんかしちゃって。
違いねえな。
こらおじさんの陰口を言ってるでしょ。こら
みーちゃん、バイト急がなくていいの？遅刻しちゃうよ。
もう覚えてなよ。
Mion seemed like she wanted to stay longer, but after looking at her watch, she started heading to work. Everyone was wearing smiles on their faces. Today was such a fun day. Everyone had lots of fun and no one was hurt. I've repeated this same day so many times before, but this time something was different. It's like I rolled a die and got a 6, and then I rolled it again and got a 6 again. I don't know if this was just a lucky coincidence or if it was meant to be. It's as if the god of fate is celebrating my motivation to fight against him. Fuck you, fate. Fuck you. Fuck you. We're changing shit. Fuck you. Changing shit, god damn it. God damn it, I almost why did I almost actually fucking tear up at that scene? Oh my god. Ugh. The game of life. Alright, I think this is a perfect time to stop. Holy shit, we're getting I guess answers, kind of. Kind of answers. We understand a little bit more, but and I feel like some of my questions have been answered, but at the same time, just it really hasn't. We still don't know what the hell is causing Rika to be stuck in June of 1983. But anyway, if you guys enjoyed this type of content, hit that subscribe button. If you liked it, hit the like button. Well, tell me something. Put it down in the comments below. Want to check out the Discord server I hang out in, or my Twitter? Check the description below. And yeah, this has been Voidlego. I'll see you guys next time. See ya!